For more on the humanitarian crisis in Syria, let's go to Ruwan Al-Rejoleh, Managing Director of TGC Consultancy. Ruwan, thank you for joining us. The UN says 3.4 million people in Syria are in need, including 1 million children, a number they expect will only grow. I imagine this extension is welcomed news.
Yes, thank you, Roy, for having me. That's true, but however, this kind of a news is temporarily. It's not. I mean, there is a kind of ambiguity on like the resolution itself, whether it's a 12-month or 6+6 months. The U.S. ambassador to the UN said that there won't be a vote for the renewal of the resolution after 6 months, which is in January. The Russian ambassador, he had a different interpretation for the resolution. I think this kind of like a quote unquote, we call this term constructive ambiguity in diplomacy is required. It shows both sides like they win on a diplomatic level. However, humanitarian, this is not really sustainable. What is really needed is a political solution, a settlement according to 2254.
But how important is it essentially that this was a compromise? Do you think it sets a tone for future compromises between Presidents Biden and Putin when it comes to Syria?
That's definitely a constructive agreement between Russia and United States, and it's more of like on the Russian side showing, building trust steps to the Biden administration. Syria is not the only issue that is matter for Moscow and Washington. There are other heated issues, just like the North Pole, the gas pipeline in Germany, Ukraine, the NATO, and the increase of the military capability of China. There are, and also on top of that, the cybersecurity for the two nations. There are a lot of collaborations, but building trust between two capitals is needed, and Syria is one of them on the humanitarian level. But I need to highlight this thing. Syria has never been an influence territory for United States. It's been always known to be an interest for the Eastern camp, namely Russia or the Russian Federation, formerly the USSR. Therefore, I think the Americans are very much, calculating their steps on how to engage, and very much, stressing on the humanitarian and not backing off on the cross borders. They asked for 3. The Russians said no, and then the conclusion or the settlement was through 1 on the northwest, which is Bab al-Hawa. As your former guest said from Damascus, it's controlled by HTS.
Ruwan, I want to ask, agreeing to get food in there doesn't necessarily guarantee that it's going to get to the people. First of all, how do you have transparency about what's actually crossing the border, and then how do you ensure that it gets to the people who need it?
That's a very good question, and that was, part of the whole 6+6, because the Russians want to see assessment and reassessment for the humanitarian aid. There is no way, to do this kind of assessment that you don't share these kind of NGOs and data with the Russians or with whoever the UN will assign to do the assessment, and that's the security breach the opposition or the NGO that are led by the opposition are fearing from, is that their data will be shared with the Assad allies and Assad himself, Damascus government. We all know that there is some certain level of corruption. We do know that through international NGO and then through national NGOs and local partners, the amount of humanitarian aid really decreased. However, that does not mean that we should stop the cross-bordering. There's always ways to ensure that the aid is going to the right people.
Ruwan Al-Rejoleh from TGC Consultancy, thank you for joining us.